Every house, in order to be in compliance, to get your certificate of compliance to be a landlord, to have a house that you're using as a rental, you have to have the house lead paint inspected. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to get into it today. First, let me give you a quick introduction. I'm Monique Burns. My husband and I have been buying houses in Detroit since 2007. We had a property management business from 2015 to 2020. And now we are flipping houses, and I'm in a two-family flat that we just sold yesterday, actually. And we're finishing up the last steps, which includes a lead paint test. Now you have to have this done unless you have a Section 8 tenant. That's another story, another video. I'll put a link to it right there. But this house, we have a non-Section 8 tenant, so we are getting it lead paint inspected so that we are under compliance with the city. And they have a law that if the house was built after 1978, you don't need to have this lead paint test. But if it was built before 1978, you absolutely have to have this test. And I was asking our lead guy, Kevin, who's here with me, how many houses really have lead paint in them? And he said, well, hard to say exactly, but before 1950, did you say, Kevin?
Yeah.
Before 1950, they probably did have a lot of lead paint. Lead paint, I guess, was really great paint back then. And then between 50 and 78, it's kind of like, hard to say. Regardless, you have to get it checked for lead. Well, what's the problem with lead paint? Well, it happens to taste really good to kids. And if you think about it, kids will go up to a windowsill, let's say, and they pull their hands up and they put their little mouth on the windowsill because they're teething. And then they realize, wow, that kind of tastes good. Or let's say they're picking up the paint next to their playpen or something. Or people don't use playpens anymore, right? They're picking the paint and they're like, that tastes good. It's quite dangerous for children. For adults, we ingest it more through the way that we get lead poisoning, unlike children, is through breathing it. So like the people downstairs were just telling me at their last place, the ceiling fell in. They had a really bad landlord who was not in compliance with the city, I promise you, because that would have never passed a city inspection, let alone probably the lead inspection, because they would have seen that one coming. So that's a way to ingest it. Like when you're on the freeway and you see those big tarps up, that's lead abatement. They're protecting us from breathing in that lead. So today I am with Kevin, and I'm going to get a little film of what he does so you guys can see what happens actually at a lead test. So one of the major things is windows. So Kevin right now is testing around our window, and he corrected me. He said it's not so much like taking a chip of paint like a potato chip, because that can pass through. But what's even worse for the children is ingesting the lead dust. And if you have an old window and the window goes up and down and it's this old paint, it's causing dust. And that is what gets ingested. Did I say it right, Kevin?
Yes, on the sticky hands, the sticky toys goes in the mouth, windows, entry doors, floors, working on a structure with lead on it improperly.
Yeah. So right now, Kevin has this tool, and what is it called?
It's called an XRF lead paint analyzer. XRF is X-ray fluorescence.
Okay. All right. How does it work?
This machine works by basically shooting gamma rays into the painted surface and excites the electrons. And it works as a handheld mass spectrometer. So it's able to read if there is lead in the paint. And it can do it, if there could be 50 layers of paint, it's going to read through all the layers and let me know if there's any lead present.
Well, did it say just then on there if it
No.
was or not?
No, it gives me a positive or a negative. Anything 1.0 or above is considered lead-based paint. For example, this is showing negative,
Where does it say
0.00. It says
Oh.
negative right there, and it gives me PBL, PBK, and PB. PBL is what's the most recent coat of paint. PBK is what's the most, the original paint. And then the PB is like a combination of the two. That's where it's reading it and saying, is there lead present or is there no lead present?
Okay. So I've heard owners say when they get ready for an inspector to come that they put new dirt all the way around the outside because of all the dust from the old windows going up and down and getting in the dirt. What do you say to that?
It helps. It's not necessarily from the windows. A lot of the exterior paint contains a higher concentration of lead, possibly. For example, from the old wood siding, the fascia and soffit, port structures. So by covering it, putting wood mulch down, soil, you are covering up that soil that could be contaminated through the decades of the house. Because we do, during this inspection, have to test the soil to see if there's any lead contaminants. You might want to clean up any lead, if there's any lead chips, any building debris out there. Clean up as much as you can prior to laying down that dirt.
Okay.
Because what we don't want our kids to go out there and play in that soil with their toys and their trucks and dig it up and then get down to that exposed layer of soil.
Okay. I've heard other investors say they come in with wipes and do all the windowsills, but we don't ever do that. Is that because we always have new windows?
Yeah, you guys always have new windows, they're always freshly painted. If I'm coming into a house that has not been renovated, like you guys always do, yes, it helps immensely to wipe down the window stools, the window troughs, any areas of the floor, say by an entry door.
Yeah.
That helps a lot. And that's actually recommended.
Okay.
So I have to interrupt you a second. I made this video today and Kevin gave me so much good information to share with you guys. It went on and on. I thought I was just gonna make a quick video and then show him doing some work with his gun, but no, he was filled with really necessary information that we all need as landlords. Whether you live in Detroit, and Detroit has this rule that you have to have a house lead paint inspected, or you're in a city and they're proposing this rule, there is so much that we need to know about lead paint in our houses. So I had to condense the video a little bit, but don't worry, because the rest of all this information is available in my course that I am in the process of creating. The course I'm making is to help people know that they can manage a house themselves without hiring a property manager, and they can do it even if they're out of state. So in my course, I will have the whole version of the video, and then I'm going to have a short version where I take all the information that Kevin gives me as I'm editing this video. I'll find out every last thing he said, and I will make it digestible in a quick bite. But watching the video, amazing. The stuff I learned while Kevin was talking, amazing. But definitely give me a like and a thumbs up. It keeps me motivated to give you more information. But if you want to be part of my course, send me an email, because my first few founding members of my course are going to get the most benefits out of my course, because I'll be offering extra coaching calls in it to walk you through how to do this project yourself. So I'm excited about my course. I hope you are too. I would love to get your email and we can talk all about it. Thanks for watching. Let's get right back into it.
How much did that little handheld gadget cost you?
They're about $25,000. And then every
Okay.
2.5 years, you send it back to the manufacturer so they can put a new piece of cadmium in it or whatever type of unit you're using, and that usually averages about $9,000 right now.
So this is why we use a lead paint inspector instead of becoming one ourselves.
That is correct. Unless you have a lot of houses, you're going to invest a lot of money and time, and it's also very hard to write the reports. You have to do it according to state and federal rules.
And how much training did you have to go through to be able to do all this?
This requires a bachelor's degree. The lead inspector requires 3 days of training. The risk assessor an additional 2. And then you take a third-party state exam. You pass that exam, you pay your fees to the state, and you get your lead inspector license.
Okay.
And then every year you renew that license, and every third year you take a refresher course. A full day training for inspector, a full day training for risk assessor, and you take the third-party state exam again, and then you're licensed again for another 3 years.
Wow.
When I do this, what I have to look for is mostly an area where I would expect the children to play the most. And it's easy as that.
No, do you want people to contact you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. All right. I'll put your contact information in my video.
I appreciate that.
All right, cool. Thank you, Kevin.
Well, thank you.